This episode has been brought to you by CompleteNutra.com, Whole Family Nutrition.
The thing that gets a little bit mind-blowing is made in the image of God. And I think sometimes people might even mistake that. And actually, I have a lot of friends. I'm not saying anybody's necessarily wrong. I'm just saying I don't believe what they believe. But I think the big question has been multiple gods versus the one true God, or made in the image of God is different than being God.
Right. Yeah, that's right. It's like, I'm really glad you brought that up because God is God and we are not. And I think that's the most fundamental principle in life. And even though that grates against our humanity, I would say it grates against our fallen humanity, our desire to usurp God. It's when we find ourselves in and under God, the one who made us to reflect him, so much so that we can relate to him but still be under him. And when we find ourselves in and under him, that's when we flourish. Because, again, we're connecting to the very source of life. And so I like the word tether you used for that reason. What's that?
We're made to reflect God. So it's we are not God. We are meant. Maybe being made in his image means that we are intended to reflect him. Because I don't think animals can reflect him. Or maybe, they can. They can. Just as far as being part of the creation.
Not like human beings do, because we're given this spiritual capacity that animals don't have. This capacity to not only discern right and wrong, but to actually relate to God. And in that sense, that's why human beings were created by God to govern the planet, even animals. I would look at it like this, Dave. I think of it as just like the moon doesn't have any light in and of itself, but it only reflects the light of the sun. We see the beauty of at least one side of the moon because it reflects the light of the sun. And in a sense, the moon was made for that purpose. In a real sense, we were made for that purpose.
That's great. Yeah, the moon. It's dark. It's dark. The moon is
throwing down some astronomy now.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I love the reflection side because the moon is not the sun. The sun is the sun. The moon just reflects the sun on to the earth and shines pretty bright on a full moon night, actually.
Yeah. So, and that's a great analogy now that I think about it, because the light of the moon that reflects the light from the sun that reflects off the moon does illuminate the earth. And in the same way, we were meant to live in the light of God and reflect the light of God on the earth. And that's when we're most satisfied. That's when we're most fulfilled. That's when our relationships will be what they were meant to be. I believe that's when we will physically be who we were meant to be. And that's where the spiritual begins to intersect with the social and the physical and the other sociological aspects of culture and those things.
Yeah, how do we reflect the light of God?
How do you mean?
What does that look like?
In what sense, or how do we do it in terms of practically, or both?
I mean, both. What is that? It's like, that sounds good to reflect the light of God, but I guess more practically, what does that look like?
Well, I mean, I think, human beings, we're driven by purpose. We're driven by a search for ultimate purpose and meaning and value and rightness and justice. All of those things reflect God's character. And it's interesting, even those who would claim to have no spiritual life at all still have a sense of value, purpose, justice. I would just question whether they can really ground that in a godless universe. And so we reflect those things, I believe, first by connecting with God and by seeing him as he is, by enjoying him as he is, by finding ourselves in and under him, and then flourishing as we seek for our rightness. That's just what justice is, the way things ought to be in our own spirit, in our own body, in our own community, in our own culture.
Yeah. So I guess there's actually three groups of people. There's people that believe that there's one true God. There's people that believe that there's multiple gods. And there's people that believe that there is no God.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you can throw
separate.
in, then there are people who there are such radically different definitions of God.
Right.
Some believe that everything is God. So yes and no. I don't know how far we want to go down that rabbit hole, but yeah, I think generally
I think the idea behind all that is that is the rabbit hole. That's the point. Those are all, everything is a rabbit hole. Anything you choose to learn becomes a rabbit hole. And this is why I find the red letters so comforting, because the Bible's big. I mean, it's like, hey, go read the Bible every day. Yeah, but
I know.
Even if you do, you don't, whatever. The idea is the red letters make the Bible smaller to me.
Yeah.
It's
you mean the words of Jesus, right?
The words of Jesus in the New Testament, because when you actually are able to find a red letter Bible and you could go to the New Testament and you could look at the words in red, that's what Jesus said. Now it's been translated into that translation of Bible. So, but when you look back, all the way back to the Aramaic or whatever, all the way to the early books, it translates the same. I mean, it's the same general words, right?
Remarkably the same, yeah.
Thank you for joining us for the Healthy and Family Show. Visit our website at healthyandfamily.com. That's healthyandfamily.com to see what all the other doctors, experts, and real moms have to say about keeping your whole family healthy. This episode has been brought to you by CompleteNutro.com, Whole Family Nutrition, and aired on the Goldstone Network. People, Planet, Future.